Greetings, Northeast Regional Folk Alliance. My name is Justin Nordell, and I am the president of the NERFA Board of Directors. But I am not here today to talk to you in that capacity. I am putting on my Booker hat because we are here for the Bookers React panel. And I am sitting here as the executive director of the Philadelphia Folk Song Society, presenters of the oldest continuously run outdoor music festival in all of North America, the Philadelphia Folk Festival. And I am here to react to your videos to see whether or not we think that is something that myself and my other wonderful bookers would love to book. And I am here to introduce you to our fantastic panel. Up next is Sarah Craig from the legendary Caffe Lena. Please introduce yourself, Sarah.
Hi, everybody. And hi, Justin. Thanks for having me here today. So you're the oldest, longest running folk festival, and we are the longest continuously operating indoor little folk club since 1960. And I have been booking the shows here for 22 years or so, something like that. And we book about 400 shows a year. And the genres range from jazz to bluegrass to emerging artists and legends. So my tastes are very flexible. I'm able to see greatness in many, many different kinds of music and know what's going to work on our stage here at Caffe Lena. I've also been on panels in Canada and panels for Folk Alliance and panels all over the place. And I love to talk about booking.
Well, we are happy to have you here to talk about it some more. And then also excited to introduce a fellow Pennsylvanian venue, Bruce Rains of the legendary Sellersville Theatre.
Right, 325-seat cap listening room. We're between Philly and the Lehigh Valley. We're celebrating our 20th anniversary this year, of which I've been booking for about 17 and a half years. And almost every genre imaginable, from folk, country, bluegrass, metal, hard rock, jazz, singer-songwriter, you name it. You probably will have found on this stage at some point.
Fantastic. Well, how this panel is going to work is that myself, Bruce, and Sarah are all going to cold watch your videos for 90 seconds. After that 90 seconds, we're going to go ahead and share our individual opinions on the video that we've been presented and give some feedback on whether or not, based on just that video, if we would book this artist or not. So without any further ado, I'm going to pass it over to our wonderful tech guru, Aiden, to set up the first video.
Where will you go, my darling daughter? I'm gonna live down by the water. If I ever could find the time, never no reason or rhyme, gonna live down by the water. And I'm gonna send a dozen roses down the river like baby Moses, and I'll wash my tears away when I'm down in the river today. Gonna send a dozen roses, a dozen roses. And who will be your one and only when the days are lost and lonely, and the little blue birds of spring go down to the river to sing. We'll hear their testimony.
Woo! Well, I am going to start this time with Sarah, next time with Bruce, and the third time with me, and we'll continue that rotation. So Sarah, you're on the hot seat first. What did you think of Miss Abigail Lapel?
Great first reaction to the video. It was intimate. It feels like a show. You know, I'm seeing her as opposed to watching a story being told by the song. There was nice, clean sound in a interesting setting. I found the setting to be attractive, and nice camera work. So all of those things, as far as the video itself goes, were good. And I liked the song. So then as a booker, my next question would be, let's see if anybody around here knows who she is. Now, I happen to know Abigail, but, you know, let's say I'd never heard of her before. I would look to see who's talking about her. What's her social media following look like? Has she toured through this area before? I would probably go on Polestar and see what her average paychecks look like and stuff like that. Those would be my next questions, because this is somebody who I would hope to find out good news about.
Okay. Bruce.
I mean, the positive thing is that I thought it was a wonderful song, and it almost disappointed me that we had to just listen to a part of it, obviously, because we're just listening to portions of it. But I want to hear more of it, and I want to hear more from her. In terms of booking her, you know, I'm a bit of a data geek, I admit. I would, 325 seats is a fair number to fill, and I'd want to make sure that and any artist would have enough of a following as a headliner. So I would check Polestar, Celebrity Access, that kind of thing, maybe some peers. But I liked her so much that even if her following was minimal, and if the economics were conducive for all parties, I would have her open for a headliner, because I liked her that much.
That's great to hear. Abigail is a Canadian-based artist who has performed in the Philadelphia region twice. I know that because I've presented her twice, so I'm a little biased on this one. That being said, I'm going to, for this and for every video, compartmentalize and just say based on what we saw. Abigail presented us what felt very much like an incredibly well-produced live performance. It was intimate enough that we were able to really connect with her in the song, but at the same time, it felt like a performance, like it was something that I could see up on any of my stages. In addition to that, it really showcased how rich her tone is. And that's something that I think is really remarkable about her and what she's able to do. But that being said, Abigail was a huge hit at this year's Philadelphia Folk Festival. And I'm really happy to see that she is putting forth her best foot with these videos. All right, Bruce, you're going to be first on this next one. Take it away, Aiden.
I'm starting to think that I might need medicine to get over this hill I've been eyeing for months now. I pour salt on my bleeding hands as I falter and fall through the cracks in my ceiling. There's a backlog of bad thoughts that plays on a loop in a dim-lit room in the back of my mind. I'm starting to think might need chemicals to put down this crutch that has held me for months now. I trip over my feet again as I sleepwalk and leapfrog right over the steps where I'll sift through the dishes I left in my sink.
All right. Bruce, what did you think of Palmyra the band? Bruce, can you hear me?
Yes. Enjoyed what I heard, enjoyed what I saw. Interesting song, you know, a little bit quirky lyrics, but you know, I enjoyed, and I'm not I don't know who they are. Perhaps I should know. I'd like to hear more before I have any strong real judgment of them, other than their genre clearly fits into what we do, possibly as an opener. That's my initial thinking.
All right. This was my first exposure to Palmyra, the band, as well. And I have to admit, I love a time signature change. So that grabbed me right away. That being said, when it comes to acts of this nature, I really look for what their relationship is on stage. And I couldn't really get that from the first 90 seconds. There wasn't a lot of interactivity in what it was that they were presenting to me. That being said, again, was really kind of taken with the lyrics. I thought that you know, there was some real nice technical playing there, and it was interesting seeing 1/3 of the band with Baby Arlo Guthrie's hair and another third of the band with Baby Arlo Guthrie's style of singing. So it was definitely caught my interest, and I am eager to see more. So this is something that I would definitely consider booking. What about you, Sarah?
Yeah, I would say that the sound on this one, the actual sound production, was a little bit rougher than it was on Abigail's video. So I was, that made me think like, oh, they might be kind of up and comers, and I haven't heard of them either. Maybe they are just trying to break into listening rooms. And so when somebody's just getting started in listening rooms, as opposed to playing more like small festivals or house shows or bar shows, a big part of it is that interaction with the audience. How comfortable are they? Are they introducing their songs, telling their stories, and having a room full of silent people hanging on every word? That can be a jarring experience for a band that's not used to it. So I would be looking to find out if they did have any listening room experience. I probably wouldn't be interested if they didn't have any. And at the other end of that, sometimes people who are kind of coming out of that circuit maybe have their own festival that they produce. They might be real grassroots heroes, and they might bring a huge crowd that's like new people to my venue that I haven't heard, that I haven't connected with before. So that can be a very exciting opportunity. I thought they were cool.
Absolutely. All righty. Next up, Aiden, cue that video.
An aging dog with failing sight, on steps and paths he takes his time. Dinner scraps, he waits for treats, then finds a spot, curls by her feet. But one misstep, or one missed rail, and the aging pair fall down the stairs. And just like that, we're only a step away from saying goodbye. One step away from a nightmarish fear, an unbearable loss, and a bridge we must cross. One step away, one step away. his favorite wine to bring to a friend's birthday party. He takes a call, then he's in free fall when his doctor tells him the bad news.
All right, that was Roberta Pearl Lamb, and this is my first time hearing Roberta. My initial reaction is, oh my goodness, her vibrato and her lower register is so lovely. And I was really, really engaged with her. That being said, the story that she was telling us through the song was incredibly somber, to a point where, depending on how my day was going, it may put a taste in my mouth that may not want me to continue and look further. Personally, a lot of times, such as with the Philadelphia Folk Festival, I always ask for 2 videos, and I would always want people to put, I guess, their best foot forward. If that's the song that Roberta feels the strongest about lyrically, then I'm glad that's what she presented to us. But I want to say, as a booker, I'm not looking for every song to be Walking on Sunshine, but that definitely was a little bit more jarring than I was expecting this afternoon. So Sarah, you're up next.
Okay. The song name flashed up, and it was this kind of script that just was like off-putting to me. There was something that felt kind of like really out of date about that, and that made me feel like, I wonder what the rest of the marketing materials are going to look like, because it just didn't have quite the right feel to it. I thought that having to look at the frets on the guitar, there was a little hesitancy in the guitar playing in a couple of spots that made me feel like this wasn't a super polished, experienced road warrior, I would say. So what I would probably do next, since this is definitely within range of consideration, I would say, I would cast a wider net to see what other videos were out there, to see what the rest of the marketing materials look like, and to see if she was like a full-time professional.
And you, Bruce?
Gut-wrenching song. I want to, again, hear it goes and hear other songs by her. I liked her voice. I thought her guitar playing was very adequate, respectable. I almost felt like I was in the room with her at some coffee shop. I'm not sure. I didn't recognize where it was, but I kind of felt that was like an old school performance in an old school coffee shop. And, I'd be amenable to hearing more of what Roberta has, although based on what I heard so far, I'm still not 100% sure of where I'd go.
Okay. All righty. Thank you very much, Roberta Pearl Lamb, for sharing your music with us. And Aiden, we're ready for the next video.
My mama never took the time to teach me right from wrong. Never really loved you, but I wrote it in a song. I'm a sick oil hustler with nowhere left to hide. sleeping off the radio. Here I am in the corner, my back against the wall. Have you seen my baby? I lost it in the fall.
Woo-hoo. All right, Sarah, you are up first for Miss Lynn Hansen.
Okay. So I do know Lynn, of course. The sound on this particular video was dreadful, but the performance was really great. I think I would look first to see if there were better videos that I could use to promote the show, because I couldn't use that video to promote the show. That wouldn't work. And I guess one of my first questions would be, is that sideman added a huge amount to that song, and do I get him if I hire her, or is she going to come solo?
Yep. That is definitely something that always comes to mind when I see a solo artist's name, but then there's somebody that's bolstering their performance so much.
Yeah.
Bruce, your reaction to Lynn Hansen?
I agree that the guitarist, I'd want to know if that guitarist would join her, because with all due respect to Lynn, I thought the guitarist helped fill the sound out a whole lot. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Bill Kirchen. Familiar with him?
Yep.
Sort of that little rockabilly thing going on, which I really enjoyed. It seemed like a good song. It was tough to really pay attention because the audio quality I thought was a little bit compromised. It was also a static shot, in black and white, and kind of gave it a retro feel. I'd want to hear more, see more before I come to a judgment, but they seem like Lynn with the guitar seemed like a polished entity that I give a serious look at.
Great. I also would agree that the audio quality in the video that we were presented doesn't do Lynn any favors. There's such a echo in that space that it didn't really allow us to just fully encapsulate what it is that she's able to do. That being said, when the audience participated, when the audience jumped in and we got that reverberation, there is nothing that makes me more interested in booking someone than when I hear or see an audience fully engaged with and interacting with a performer while they're live on stage. Whether it's because I have a video of a performer and I can see the audience, the back of their heads, and they're moving in their seats, or they're singing along, that we can hear audio-wise. That really, really engaged me with this particular video of Lynn. I will say that, again, the audio being in that particular space didn't do any favors. Also, the black and white, really loved it. Very, very classic. However, Lynn herself was very washed out because of where she was in relation to the lighting. So if this was my first exposure to Lynn Hansen, which it's not, I think she's incredible. But it would definitely kind of make me have to follow up and get more information about who she is and how she performs. And that's not always, as a booker, what I want to do. Help me do my job as quickly and easily as possible, because we've got a lot to do and a lot of people to get through sometimes. All right, Bruce, you are going to be up next when we have Jackie Bobinski. Take it away, Aiden.
Here come the future, there go the past. We're making plans and God laughs. It's a non-stop go-go bumpy ride. Tell you don't look left, brother, don't look right. Keep your hands tight on the wheel. Don't get lost in the way you feel. things are changing, always changing. There ain't no forecast to let you know if it's sunshine, rainstorm, sleet or snow. It's your best guess, Holy Spirit voice inside you won't say it written on a billboard sign. Take control of the things you can. Do your best to try and understand. Things are changing, always changing. Things are changing, changing fast. In a second, in a flash, 10 gone, nothing less. Things are changing, always, always. There ain't no slow-mo.
All right, so this obviously was not Jackie Babinski, and this is actually a really wonderful lesson. Jackie Babinski with The Rock's management obviously is the one who submitted the video for none other than Bruce Sedano. However, in submitting the video, you have to make sure that you put the artist's name everywhere, even if you are the one that is doing the work for the artist. So as such, that was not a Jackie Babinski video, but a Bruce Sedano video. So gonna go ahead and turn it over to you, my good sir, to give me your first impressions of Bruce.
Oh, sorry. I thought the song, I thought the lyrically was a little cliched. And I don't know, it just didn't smack me. I don't want to spend too much time on it. But it just, sorry, didn't hit me.
All right, what about you, Sarah?
Okay. I would say that, you know, when I look at somebody like Bruce coming into my inbox, I would say I would immediately look at that person and say, okay, if I go and look at his resume, I'm going to find something really impressive. I am just guessing that he has been in this for a very long time and has probably accumulated a whole lot of credentials out there in the world. And I'm expecting that people will know who he is. If I go poking around and I find that that's not the case, then I wonder why. Why has he been sitting on this art, or why did he fail and not make a name for himself? And so if this is, and then there's another category, which is sort of like a comeback artist, you know, somebody who did it for decades, you know, did the albums and then decided to like be a farmer for a while and then realized that farming wasn't for them and have decided to come back to music. And in that case, I would just need to see a full commitment. I would need to see a new recording, all new ad materials. I would need to see a new website being built and a team behind this person.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to this particular video, I think it's interesting to have this come directly after the Lynn Hansen video, where we had a guitarist that somewhat stole attention from Lynn, whereas I thought that this side player with Bruce actually bolstered his performance, and he was able to build off of that and at no moment pulled. I was fully engaged with Bruce the entire time. That song I don't think is one of my favorites of his. I happen to know and have presented Bruce Sedano, so again, trying to check my bias. But Sarah, you were right on the money. Bruce Sedano has songwriting credits for the likes of Michael Jackson, Dolly Parton, Reba McEntire, and none other than his late wife, Donna Summer. And so Bruce is out there making a name all up for his own right now. And I personally found the video to be very engaging, and I appreciated that he had an artist that really bolstered him rather than one that potentially could have drawn attention away. All right. Up next, we have a video from Linda Marks.
I can only imagine flowers in your hands, I can only imagine. Exchanging wedding bands, I can only imagine. Our footprints in the sand, I can only imagine. Now I cherish the moments we shared when you were here. I expected to share so many more. I never imagined that God would call you home so very young, with so much life ahead. I can only imagine the journey that we shared in good times and hard times. Just knowing you were there, we promised forever. Could not.
Whew. This was another somber one from Linda Marks. The sentiment behind the song is so immensely lovely, and you can tell as a viewer that it is coming from such an honest and genuine place. So that you can't teach someone that. That's really, really wonderful. That being said, there were two elements of repetition that I found to be really difficult to get past. I can only imagine being every other line of the song. Felt very much like a crutch for a songwriter. And it was really, really difficult to imagine getting past that. That being said, Linda, when performing, also was looking down at the piano every other lyric. And it was really, really distracting to me. And then when Linda was kind of coming up, wasn't making eye contact with the camera, wasn't making eye contact anywhere in particular, was staring off in kind of different directions. And it may have been where she needed to emotionally go to connect with such a song. So I'm not going to, hold her for that, but I will just say that the immense amount of repetition lyrically in the song, as well as her repetition looking down so very often at the piano, just didn't let me know if this was a songwriter that I would be ready to present to my audience. And you are up, Sarah. Oops, Sarah, you are muted.
Beginner's error. Sorry about that. There are a lot of people in our community who do music therapy. And I'm guessing that Linda may have some experience along those lines. And so a song like this can provide a deep emotional connection in a certain setting for a certain group of people. It doesn't necessarily translate well to a club stage, to a club performance. My very first reaction was, oh my gosh, she's reading sheet music. Like, that's a no-no. I would say in folk music, you don't have music on a stand in front of you. You just don't, especially if it's your own song. So I would ditch that. I'm sure she doesn't need it. This video had a nice, rich sound. I thought that she did a great job creating a nice video with like good camera work, motion in the camera and everything like that. So it's definitely a great product. And I would think that it might get her a lot of work, but maybe not so much in the club or festival setting.
And what did you think?
I mean, a pleasant enough song, but I didn't find it very compelling. I very often when I listen to music, I pay more attention to the sonic quality than the visual when people send me EPKs, unless it's a live performance, performance captured at some other venue, ideally professionally shot on an iPhone. That said, I'm sorry, I just didn't find it compelling enough to dig any deeper.
But I do agree with Sarah that sonically it was an incredibly well recorded video. Alrighty, up next is Mike Agranoff.
Would you like to play the guitar? Carry money home in a jar from a coffee house or a bar? Or would you rather get a job? A job is a thing that makes you get out of bed and work every day until you're dead. Your back gets tired and your brain gets numb. You just can't wait until the weekends come. But if you don't want to starve or beg or rob, you're gonna have to get a job. Would you like to play the guitar? Drive for miles and miles in your car and pretend that you're a big star? Or would you rather book the gig? The agent's the guy who makes his 20%. What he said ain't exactly what he meant. He'll clean you out in ways you never thought, 'cause he's good at business and he knows you're not, and he'll sue if you ever make it big. 'Cause he's the guy who booked the gig. Or would you like to play the guitar for a living? Hardy har har. I admit that's kind of bizarre. Or would you rather be the wife?
All right. Sarah, what did you think of Mike Agranoff?
I've never heard of him. No, I have, of course. And I have booked Mike. The video, the opener, kind of canned opener, had a little bit of a Muppets vibe to it, which I thought actually kind of worked well for this. My question would be, who is the audience? Nobody else has sent me anything like this. So who's the audience for it? I heard that song probably 20 years ago. I'm wondering what's new. If it didn't, if the booking didn't happen then, why would it happen now? What has changed? Those would be my questions.
Okay. And Bruce, what did you think of Mike?
Oh, I've always enjoyed his work. I've never been pitched him. I never sought him out. I don't know why, but I think I first caught wind of him on the show called Mixed Bag that Pete Fornatale hosted and produced for many years in New York City, where I grew up. And so I took a liking to Mike from Pete. And I get a kick out of the song. I want to hear, I think I've heard other things of his, and they're equally comical and to some degree comically cynical. But I enjoyed it. I'm not sure to what extent he could fill the room here, but I'm predisposed to, maybe pairing with somebody if it came to that.
I really liked this video that Mike submitted. I thought, again, I've presented Mike before, so compartmentalizing. I thought it showed his personality. I thought it very much came across who you were going to be able to get and how we would be able to connect with an audience. I absolutely know and think that there's an audience for that presentation that Mike gave us in this video. I thought the video was, even though it was kind of static compared to some of the really nice earlier videos we got, the oral quality of it was good enough for us to really get a good feel for who Mike is. Having presented Mike in the past, what I would hope he would do with a second video is show something a little bit newer. Again, that song's been around for a little while. And oh my gosh, please, something with a concertina, because if you have not seen Mike Agranoff with a concertina, it is a totally different artist. He is absolutely phenomenal. So really, really hoping that artists that are multifaceted like Mike Agranoff, who can do kind of those wonderful, quirky, comedically tinged singer-songwriter things, as well as really, really wonderful technical musicians, take the opportunity with 2 video submissions to do both. Alrighty, up next we have Allison Lupton.
favor on your own, while the one who stays beside you, foolish me, is left all alone. Sad and foolish, that's how I feel. Don't you know how fortune favors few? Fortune's blind as you, my dear. What a pity, oh foolish you. Leaving me this way's hardly fair. Must I go seek fortune too? Or must I wait till folly finds its own way home to me and foolish you? Sad and foolish, that's how I feel. Don't you know how fortune favors few? Fortune's blind as you, my dear. What a pity, oh foolish you. Take it, boys.
Some of these abrupt endings. All right, Bruce, what are your first reactions to Alison Lupton?
I enjoyed the totality of what she did with the band. I thought it was fabulous playing. I'm not sure how I feel about her as a singer, though. We present a lot of old-timey and bluegrass music, and just not sure where she'd fit into the grand scheme of things. So that's all I have. My initial comment about her.
Sure. I am up next. I think that right off the bat, what caught me was Hugh's Room. That is a legendary room in Toronto, Canada, that I know of as a booker. It's comparable to my venue in size and capacity. We got a really, really great dynamic video that showed us Alison with a full band, as well as showing us a pan out of the audience. We saw the audience that was very intent, did not see the light of any cell phone up while they were watching. So that just let me know everybody was fully engaged. I really liked what I saw. And I think, as we had said earlier, I believe with Lynn, was just whether or not we were going to get full band or just Alison, because I really like the taste that we got from that video. What did you think of Alison, Sarah?
Yeah, one thing that I liked that she did with this video is she started the music right from, the first frame. Even though you weren't seeing the performance yet, you were just seeing her smiling, and you were catching like a little taste of her personality before you actually saw her on stage, but you were already in the song. And that can be a good way to, use some of that B-roll footage, as long as you've started the song right from square one. Same thing. Do we get the full band? That's a big band. It kind of smacks of CD release concert to me, I'm thinking maybe. But if she's on tour with the full band, then that's going to be very expensive. And if she's somebody who's never played in my market before, that might not be a fit. If she's on tour with a trio, then I need to see that video.
That is such a good point. And I've had the privilege of getting to go up and see some artists perform in Canada at different conferences. And sometimes artists will come out with a 5-piece, a 6-piece. One time in Newfoundland, I saw an 11-piece. And I just, as an American presenter, went, no, too rich for my blood. And then was told, oh, no, I can do it as a duo, as a trio, as a quartet. Well, please, 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 artists that are coming, especially from abroad, show us what the duo looks like in addition. Show us what the trio looks like in addition, because it's really, really key for American presenters when we know we're going to be presenting an act from another country to kind of get a basis for our budget, because that's something that's incredibly important. All righty, up next is Doug Colmar, and I'll be reacting first.
song about wisdom and knowledge and age, I guess. When I was less than 25, I thought I knew the truth. Armed with a college education and the arrogance of youth. It's a great big world, got a lot to show. The more I see, the less I know. When I was less than 25, it all seemed in my grasp. Now that I am older, I've fallen on my ass a few times. Got a lot to learn. The further I move down the road, the more it turns. It's a great big world, got a lot to show. The more I see, the less I know.
All right. I am up first for Doug Colmar. This is actually one of the first videos where we got any bit of song introduction, and it was something that I sometimes really look for. I kind of want to know what an artist banter is with the stage, how they with the audience, how they interact with the audience. Also, there was something I said earlier when Palmyra gave us their video that I didn't really get a sense of how they interacted because they were kind of all staying in their lane. With Doug Colmar's band, there was a lot of eye contact, a lot of back and forth, a lot of acknowledgement of one another. That being said, there were a larger number of people on that stage, and I didn't feel as if the sound that we got was represented by the number of people that were on that stage. That cello was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I think that the song was engaging and interesting enough that I want to hear more. But it was very much kind of in a 3-note range, as was the majority of what we were kind of getting, was, pretty syncopated. So as such, I don't really feel as if I got a good understanding of the dynamics. Would we have gotten that in the next 20 or 30 seconds that we don't get because we got a little bit of an introduction? We don't know. So to that end, I definitely recommend kind of putting, again, your best foot forward with something that's a little bit dynamic. That being said, Doug, I'm eager to hear more. And to that cello. You're up next, Sarah.
Okay. I would say that the melody of the song struck me as a little dull. I'll just put it in those words. With no offense, it was kind of pretty, but it just didn't have a lot of zip to it. And so it needed the band to lend excitement. And my guess is that I wouldn't get that full band if I were to book this artist. The singing also I thought was just a little bit pitchy. And nothing really pulled me into that song. So what I would probably do next is just check online, look at his website, look at his YouTube views, look at his socials, see where his music is being reviewed. And my guess is that this is an artist who's probably fairly local to wherever he lives. And that's not probably what I'm looking for unless it's music that really slays me.
All right. Bruce.
What I liked most about it was the totality of it, the musical backing, the cello, as you mentioned, the way everybody, I thought, melded together very nicely, including with the vocals. Lyrically, I thought is an okay song. A little cliched on one hand, on the other, I kind of liked it in its own way. And I might be inclined to hear more from Doug. I'm not familiar with him, and I have no idea how what his draw would be in the area. But I'd be interested in hearing more of what he has.
Okay, Sarah, you are going to be up first when we are done with Mindy Murray.
Called Going Once, Going Twice, and it's about my grandparents having to sell their farm on the eve of the Great Depression for back taxes.
right, Sarah,
Okay.
what did you think of Mindy Murray?
So I have to say that she pushed some of my go buttons. Like, I felt like she had a right to be on a folk stage. I felt like she had a purpose in being on a folk stage. And I just felt like I'm on her side. I like this person. Let's be friends. It was sort of my first reaction. I would like to know, number one, are all of her songs kind of populist anthems? That would be very interesting if they were, or is this the only one? So that would be one of my first questions. The video itself is probably her worst enemy. There's somebody in the background who's moving around, moving stuff, not paying any attention to what she's doing. That does not set a good tone. She's kind of off to the side of the screen. Something on the left side of the screen is blurred out. I don't know what that is. So she should just probably take some time to make a better video, which would be very simple to do. Doesn't need to put a lot of money into it or anything before she starts trying to get gigs outside of her comfort circle.
Great. Alrighty, Bruce, what did you think of Mindy?
Yeah, I agree. I thought the video was a little bit static, and the person walking around in the background was a little distracting. I thought she was okay. I mean, she sounds like somebody with conviction, and I want to hear what her other songs are like. So it's tough to get having challenges getting a full read based on just the little I heard.
I really was taken. Again, second video we've gotten in a row that had an intro, and I have a pet peeves with intros where they tell you what's going to happen in the song, and then immediately that comes up in a song. And Mindy instead kind of gave you a brief overview that gave you context. That's how you do it. So I appreciated that. And when the guitar playing started, the confidence that was there in that guitar playing was really exceptional. That song also had a very timeless folk quality to it. For me, that could have been from right now in the 2020s. It could have been from the 1920s. And the fact that I don't know just gets me even more excited. And I'm with you. I want to hear more. I agree. The video itself is probably the visual of it, not the audio, is probably what is the biggest deterrent or detractor. Again, curse to that man in the background who's picking up his bag and doing all the other things. And then the choice to kind of black out what was off to the side rather than leave it there on the left side of the video. There are unquestionably video editing tools that'll allow you to just crop and zoom. So Mindy, if you're out there, crop and zoom. Don't let the bad guy deter you. I think you've got something really great there, and excited to see more. All right, so Bruce, you are going to be up first when we discuss this next artist, Reese Shad.
Tired Ryan grin, rebar bone within, etched with every sin. There's lashes in the lacquer. Temple pulse reveals how the deep heart feels. This hammer dulled by moss, not just an old nutcracker. These parts survive. I find disturbing these pieces here. Here I'm appraising what I was, I am not now. How I've come, I know not now. Beaten copper, tempered steel, the violence of the making. These hands of dice and wire. Hands of dice and wire, hands of dice and wire, forever shaking.
How fitting that Sarah goes last for this one. Alrighty, Bruce, you are up first.
I don't think there's any question we know where that was taped. Fabulous voice with a really strong dynamic range and polished musicians, all three of them, and the way they played with each other is very well. It's a type of genre that we present quite regularly. I'd want to hear more. I'm sorry, I'm not overly familiar with the artist, but I'd want to hear more of what Reese had to see if there's any other compositions he has, any other songs that are perhaps more upbeat and would add to the dynamics of the totality of a set.
Absolutely. This is my first exposure as well to Mr. Shad. And I really liked what I saw. What was really dynamic was just the pocket that he and his fellow musicians were in. Really, really nice. And he was just so fully engaged and honest in his lyrics with what he was saying and singing. So I was really, really engaged myself as the viewer. I liked that it was similar to Hugh's Room at a venue that I know of that is legendary and comparable to mine. So that is something that absolutely grabs my attention. Show us the video at the Hugh's Rooms, the Caffe Lenas, the Sellersville Theaters, the places that have been around for decades and really have a built audience, because that lets me know that even if you don't have a built audience in my particular region, that perhaps we can build one together when you're that darn talented. Alrighty, Sarah, you are up.
So Reese is somebody who's been in this area for a while and then out of the area, and then has come back in and is kind of picking up his music career again. I wanted to reach into the screen and knock the music stands to the floor. I was sorry to see them there. And I know that Reese can be very upbeat and like twinkly and charming and engaging. And I would rather have seen him in one of those moments than in this moment. I think that this could give you a sense of a show that like has a little bit of a drag to it, and that's not the case. He's actually a really live wire on stage.
Well, then I, for one, hope that I get a second video that shows me that dynamism. But I have to say, for music like that, when you get in a really good pocket like that, and then you fully commit to what it is you're presenting, as someone that hadn't seen him before, I was in. So I'm looking forward to seeing more. But I left the music note to you because I knew you had brought that up earlier. But yeah, that's definitely a pet peeve of mine as well. All righty. So next up is actually our last video that we are going to be watching. And so I will be up first giving my feedback and gut reactions to Larry and Joe. Okay, we ended on a lively one, and I think that is a lot of fun. But before I go into what I loved about it, I am going to really knock the camera work, because that video started on a very tight zoom, and then we got out a little bit. But for the first solid minute of that, we weren't able to see what incredible technicians these gentlemen were. I really, really was disappointed, because when I'm hearing spectacular playing and I can't see it, I mean, what is that supposed to do as me as a booker? Be like, oh, if you book it, you get to see how great they play. No. Give me a little bit of a taste. I need a sample. Come on. So to that end, it wasn't until we got a zoom on Larry playing towards the end there that we were able to really get that taste. So it was really, really nice to see just two dynamic musicians that played incredibly well together. And so that was really nice. Just a weird side note, I saw a bass in the background, and that kept distracting me because we were so tight on them. I was like, is this Larry and Joe, or is there more of a band and we're not getting the rest of it? So, I was kind of really just trying to kind of get a feel for their dynamic. I would obviously jump right into the next video to kind of see how they are and work together. If there's other instrumentation, if there's other people that are backing up Larry and Joe, so on and so forth. But that being said, I found it to be a wonderfully dynamic presentation. And it was, again, really nice to have an audience that was fully engaged in the video. Wish I could have seen a little bit of them, but that camera work was just so tight. Okay, off to you, Sarah.
Okay. I look for global music. I have a series, global music series. So I'm always glad to see something like this where people are singing in another language, playing in a style from another folk tradition. I know Joe Troop, and I'm interested to see that he has this new duo that I was not aware of. So one of the questions I would have is, this is a new project. These guys probably play in a lot of different projects. So do they really have a commitment to this duo? Or are they really out there trying to make a name for this project? Or is this just one of many and they're going to like try and build a tour around this? And then the next time I hear from them, it's going to be a different project and a different one, because that can put me in a very difficult position as far as building any momentum for your band. The visuals did not wig me out to the level that they wigged out Justin. I was kind of okay with that, actually. The tight shots, I was just listening and having fun. I loved that I was hearing the audience. The audience was clearly very engaged, and that added fun to it. So yeah, that's about all I have to say. It was cool.
Alrighty, Bruce.
Loved the singing, the playing, the energy. Thought the video was kind of mediocre. I agree with you. Is there a bass player, or does somebody pick up the bass at some other song? So I almost would have, it was a tease. I'd like to be in the room with them as opposed to watch the video, which was, and the audio, which I just thought were both average. Also, you notice I didn't see any mic, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't see any mics on them. So I wonder if this was just shot by, if they were just playing open acoustically, just purely acoustically without amplification, because the only way we heard them is probably on the camera mic, and so it was a little bit distracting that way. But I'd want to hear more, and I think I'd want to hear more, and I'm predisposed.
Absolutely. Like Sarah, I was pre-familiar with Joe Troop from his Grammy-nominated previous act, Che Apalache. And when, just to let you know, Bruce, we had Joe and Che Apalache in our venue at the Philadelphia Folk Song Society. They actually performed unmiked, and it was absolutely magical. It is the only act that I have ever had do a full concert that way in my space. And it's something that I remember and treasure. So to see that that's something that he's continuing to do, may not work in every venue in every space. Obviously, I don't know how well that would be able to be achieved in the Sellersville Theatre, obviously. So again, I think it's really up to artists when they're able to submit more than one video to show us the dynamism of what you're able to do in different forms and different formats. But I'm with you, Sarah. I was like, oh, is this Joe's new project? What's going on here? Are they on a break? Is this something new? Is there a new album? Is there? So, it's definitely something that I'm interested in. And I think we haven't really talked about a lot of times with applications. There's a narrative so that we can ask for, like, why would you want to play here, to be a part of this festival or this venue? Or there's an ability in an email to just give a brief paragraph. So I think Sarah brings up a really great point to kind of let us know what this project is, why we should be considering it and looking at it. Because again, that video was a delicious tease, and I simply want to hear and see more. All right. Well, we have come to the end of our wonderful segment here for Booker's React. And I am going to now put everyone on the spot and say, out of everyone that you saw here today, who do you think you had an immediate reaction to that you would like to learn more about? It can be an artist that you were familiar with or one that you were exposed to for the very first time. And since I'm putting everybody on the spot, I will go ahead first. And I will just genuinely say that out of all the videos, I think the one that caught me the most off guard and just felt the most true, authentic folk was Mindy Murray. I was really impressed, and I really want to see more. So that was the one that probably jumped out to me the most. Yes, there were some issues with the video, but there was no getting around what it was that we were being presented with that was timeless, with really, really wonderful playing. So for me, Mindy Murray, that was a video that really was a pleasant surprise for me. I'm going to go to you, Sarah. This is Booker's React. So who are you reacting to?
Yeah, Mindy. I guess I'll go actually with Abigail Appel. Seemed like, the most likely, as well as the final act that we saw, Joe, and what was his partner's name?
Joe and Larry.
Joe and Larry. Yeah, those two I think would be probably the easiest for me to see booking.
Amazing. And what about you, Bruce? Was there anyone that just knee-jerk reaction with Sellersville material, either as an opener or potentially an act at any point?
Well, I'd want to explore a little bit more my namesake, Bruce Adano. I mean, I recognized the name when it first came up, and although I wasn't crazy about the song he did, with somebody with like a track record like that, I want to explore more of what he has done on his own. Obviously, in addition to the people with whom he collaborated or wrote for in the past.
Fantastic. All right. Let's just take a moment now just to say goodbye and let people know where they can find you and how they can get a hold of you if they're interested in being booked. So, Bruce, we'll just go ahead and start with you.
Best way, email Bruce at ST, that's S as in Sellersville, T as in theater, st94.com. Best way to reach out. And please do have patience. We do get inundated. And but between me and somebody else here who works with me on booking openers, we'll get around to checking about just about everybody who sends us material.
Fantastic. And you, Sarah?
Sarah at caffelena.org. The booking guidelines for the venue are posted on our website under the About tab. So definitely read that before you reach out to me, because the guidelines are very transparent and give you an idea of what I need to hear when I hear from you, and what the opportunities are for breaking into the music scene around here. And then I would also suggest that if you want to get more of a flavor of what we do, you can look at caffelena.tv. Any weekend, we have shows that we stream there for $5 or so usually. It gives you a great sample of what it's like to be at the club. And finally, we have a Caffe Lena School of Music, which for adults is mostly an online affair. And we're always interested in hearing from teachers as well as students. And the children's program is in person. We have community outreach work that we do. We call it Caffe Lena on the Road. So for people who are experienced with music therapy and performing in settings like a homeless shelter or a soup kitchen or like a drug treatment facility, we have work for you also. So many opportunities.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Bruce and Sarah, for joining us. Again, my name is Justin Nordell. I am currently the president of the board of directors of NERFA, and so excited to be welcoming everyone digitally and virtually to us at nerfa.org, as well as in person here at the wonderful Asbury Park, New Jersey for the very first time. So we're really, really excited. In addition to that, I'm going to plug the Philadelphia Folk Song Society. We have a 180 cap listening room venue in Philadelphia, and would love to see you there. If you're at all interested, please go ahead and email perform at pfs.org. P as in Philadelphia, F as in folk song, S as in society. The reason you do not want to email me directly, can we get that on there? Can you see that? 68,909 emails. I'm trying, y'all. I really am. Yeah, no, we get inundated as bookers. We get so many, and when people send them to our personal emails sometimes, or Facebook Messenger, or some other things, because they find us, it's really hard because we want to give everybody the attention that they deserve. There are just only so many hours in the day. Also, we have applications for the 61st annual Philadelphia Folk Festival, August 17th through the 20th, 2023, that are open now, and you can check those out at folkfest.org. Thank you all so very much for joining us. We hope that you took away some wonderful professional development as artists on what you can do to make sure that your video captures not just our attention, but everyone's the next time you are looking to be booked. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful Northeast Regional Folk Alliance.